Hello everybody and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out something called World Division by developer Orbitantlers. This is an LD30 entry with the theme Connected Worlds and it is a spatial and perception based puzzle game. We're going to be navigating through some courses, I guess we could call them courses. It's kind of like two little worlds, two little planets I should say, that have a marble on them, and each side is sort of asymmetrical and we've got to use both as reference points to try and locate where we need to end up placing that marble to get it to its goal. And you know how much I love marble games, especially marble games with cool art styles and great music. So why don't we jump right into things, and I will try my best to not do horribly at this game because it's actually quite difficult. I've made it, I think, about 6-7 levels in, something like that anyway. But I have a feeling I'm going to get stuck on level 3 again because there's a little bit of finesse and also a little bit of luck that might be involved with trying to get the marble to land where I need it to land. So we can use either WASD or arrow keys to navigate. I'm going to opt for arrow keys here just because they're the first thing that my hand touched. So I'm going to be rotating both planets at the same time. I thought at first, perhaps, that looking at the, having WASD on one side and then arrow keys on the other, that one hand would correspond to one planet. That is not the case, however. So you'll see we're actually navigating both at the same time, like I said, and the one on the right has a little pink target, and we've actually got a marble on both to try to show us what exactly is going on here with this premise. So I'm just kind of knocking the marble around a little bit to give you a feel for how the physics kind of work in this game. And they don't work exactly as I would have expected, actually. There's a little bit of strangeness in it. It always seems like the marble tries to seek the top middle point closest to the camera. That is presuming that we're looking from like a top-down perspective on this planet. But it's something that can get a little bit tricky, and I'm just going to go for the goal here, so we solve that one. But yeah, as we start to add more and more obstacles and take away more and more reference points, things can get a bit on the tough side. But it is kind of neat, though, that this is something that you can basically recognize how to play almost immediately, and then it's all just about execution. Then the thing is, though, if the gravity is a little bit off-putting or strange, then execution might be a bit more difficult than one has anticipated. So this is where things start to get a little interesting. We've got non-corresponding objectives here. We've got on one side what seems to be just a cube, and then on the other side we've got a cube embedded in a slightly different position with two rectangular structures on top of it. So we need to figure out quite where that corresponds and also how to get the marble to that position. And I was wrong, by the way. It was level 4 that I think I had gotten stuck on, not level 3. This one shouldn't be quite as difficult. So I'm going to try and just kind of mess around with this thing a little bit, giving it enough momentum and actually solve that very quickly. And you might have noticed it didn't really appear that the target corresponded perfectly on the other side. I'm not really sure what that's about. Maybe it's just me that doesn't entirely understand this still. But I was figuring that, like, wherever that is floating on the right side, it would land on something obvious on the left side that sort of framed it, as it were. I don't necessarily feel like that was really the case with that last one. So you'll see here we've just got a target floating in space, and on the left we've got a big old cluster of different strange shapes that are kind of piled on top of each other. So I'm going to do my best to fling the ball around the sides of these cubes and hopefully land in a position that might help us out. Now, since I have solved these already, I have a general sentiment of how I think I'm supposed to do it, but again, getting the ball to go where I want it to go, not the easiest task. And also, the camera doesn't move. It always stays structured in that same exact position, so there's no way to see the ball on a lot of occasions, and that actually can be a little bit tricky as well. But, it's an LD game. It was done very quickly, and I'm sure the developer would probably make a few tweaks, if only to add more levels. I think that was one of the things that I saw them mention on the LD page. And I could definitely get into this premise, and I can see how this is something that could be quite a lot of fun, as long as I'm able to parse what exactly I'm doing at all times, and that's where I think the camera thing could get a little frustrating. I'm also just kind of curious to hear what you guys think about this one as well, because this is one where I think a lot of my opinions might just be very subjective. Not that, on all accounts, all of my videos' opinions are very subjective, but I think that there's a range for opinions, and I think there's a lot of things that I could say, very high likelihood that a lot of you would agree with, whereas sometimes there are things that are very much hit or miss or 50-50. There's also plenty of times where I just get stuff wrong in my videos, and, I try my best, of course, but nobody's perfect. Yeah, but this is one of those cases where I think a lot of the things that I think might need some improvement or might need work are just kind of like up in the air as to whether or not that's even the case. I think technically this game does what it set out to do just fine. It's just about whether or not it can be polished or refined a lot more is really the big question. And right now, I'm not really sure where my ball is. It's like rolling away. See, I think it tries to seek top middle, but like sometimes it just doesn't. Or maybe it just does, and I just don't really get what I've done to it based on the structures that are in the way. So yeah, this is the level that I was anticipating getting stuck on, and I know roughly where I need to put the thing, but like, yeah, okay, I got it. It's getting it to roll up at that weird angle that doesn't always make sense, and this is where we find out this game doesn't necessarily play by any rules but its own. We don't even have a planet on the left side. And we've got a cube on the right, and there's actually some cool chromatic aberration, and some really subtle effects, by the way. I don't know if you can notice this very well, but there's actually some very subtle, like, gradient stuff going on, various shades of gray that are happening here, which give it sort of a nice classy overtone to the art style. I think it really does have a nice level of polish on the visuals. Now, I have no idea what I'm navigating right now, and that's probably okay, but let's just kind of throw this around a little bit. See if we can get it to hit up on an edge in a way that I can kind of tell where it flipped over. And then maybe I can use that to determine where exactly I am. I'm also just kind of lining up the edge as best as possible in the hopes that maybe I can get the ball to just land luckily in the spot that it needs to go to. And I think that's kind of what I'm going to be doing for this particular level, because I'm not entirely sure how to do this properly. And maybe that's just a failure of my own logic. And that has been a common complaint with this series. No worries, I am completely aware that I'm not great at puzzle games, but I like playing them anyway. They're also not great for spectators, I'm aware of also. They're especially frustrating for people on streams, I've noticed, because people get very frustrated very quickly with that type of thing. These types of games I don't believe are necessarily meant to be played in front of spectators unless somebody's particularly good at them, and like I said, I'm not. But I still think there is some redeeming value for them, just by virtue of showing off what exactly is going on here. Is that cube actually a cube, or is it sort of oblong a little bit? Because it sort of looks like when I rotate it sometimes... no, I guess it lines up, unless the perspective is skewed. It seems like it's actually a cube. I thought maybe it was a little bit bigger on one side than the other. So, there we go. Total random luck on that one. And now... we've actually got a very interesting conundrum. Sort of a morphing bunch of shapes all going through each other with a really cool shading effect here. I mean, we've had the shading effect on and off. It's, I don't even know what to say about it. It's like almost cross-hatching, but not quite. Or just hatching, I guess, because it's one direction. But it sort of comes in and out of reality. So it's a very specific type of shading that I like quite a bit, and I would like to see used more. I'm trying to think of what that reference even feels like to me. I guess a little bit Mad World, perhaps, on the Wii, or... I don't know. Maybe it's some sort of cell shading or something like that. Anyway, I'm trying to get this thing oriented around the side of this sphere, but, you know, we're not dealing with shapes that are moving symmetrically. In fact, I think they're actually mirrored on X and Y, so it's a little tricky to line up here. We've got to find the single spot where these two shapes correspond. It might actually be sideways. It might be something like this, maybe. Maybe I've got to actually learn how to get the ball into the target when it's not even facing the camera, because I do kind of have an idea where it's going to be at all times, right? But we don't have a reference guide on the other one, so this is all about just lining up these two axes to be right where each other are. And what am I going to use as the block point to get this oriented where it needs to get to? I'm not entirely sure. This is actually the level that I stopped playing on before I started recording the video, and it's a very interesting conundrum, I must say. I think I'm probably going to stop here just because I have a feeling this is going to end up taking a very long time for me to actually line it up properly. But this has been World Division. I know a fairly short video, but definitely a game that I'd urge you guys to go check out yourselves if you don't mind. This is actually freely playable right in your browser, requires no download, and was from, again, the LD30 competition. I'm not sure if this was from the 48-hour or the 72-hour Game Jam, but it is definitely quite a lovely piece of work, and I definitely urge you to go try it and let me know what you think about it in the comments, because that is part of the whole fun of this series. Oh, I got it! I'm not sure how I got it exactly. Oh wait, actually I did beat that level. I guess I got to this one and I forgot. Sort of looks like a little angry snowman or a crying snowman. We don't even have a ball on this one. Oh wait, There it is. The ball is actually on the opposite side. I saw it for a split second, and now it's gone again. I guess I got it stuck on one of these rectangle bits, and then I used that to spin it around to the other side. So that's, I think, part of what the focus here would need to be. We need to grab the ball and then turn it around, because as you can see on the other one, we've got it right in the center at the top in the snowman's nose region, as it were. So anyway, I think I'll leave you with this. Go play some World Division again. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like on it. Helps me out a whole bunch. Helps spread the word about that the series even exists. And again, we are still going for that 1,000 indie impression video goal, and I solved it by turning it in circles, and that just happens to be the end of the game's levels. So that's actually perfect timing. So now you've seen all the challenges that lie ahead. Can you complete them, though, is a whole other thing. Really cool concept, though. Anyway, I will catch you all tomorrow. New episodes of Indie Impressions go up every single day. If you enjoy this series and if you enjoy this channel, consider subscribing, because that helps me out a whole bunch, and then you can see all the new stuff that comes up all the time between Indie Impressions, various Let's Plays, and bizarre other things that show up on occasion. Vloggy style stuff. Sometimes there's videos of cats when I go to Vancouver. Any kind of thing could happen. It's all up in the air. So anyway, I will see you all very soon, and I hope you have a fantastic night. Talk to you later.